Welcome back to NASCAR Today. March 15th is a date that will forever be etched in our memories as the infamous day of penalties in the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series. In an unprecedented move, NASCAR has unleashed its most severe penalties on Cup Series teams found guilty of manipulating parts sourced from a single supplier for the next-gen car. 5 top-tier Cup Series teams, the 4 powerhouse Hendrick Motorsports teams, and 1 from the competitive Cowley Racing, were penalized for unauthorized alterations of a single source component. The penalties were distributed as follows: Kyle Larson's number 5 team, William Byron's number 24, and Alex Bowman's number 48, all representing Hendrick Motorsports, as well as Justin Haley's number 31 from Cowley Racing. Each of them was docked a staggering 100 driver points, 100 owner points, and 10 playoff points. The magnitude of these penalties cannot be overstated, as they could significantly impact the championship standings and future playoff races. Chase Elliott's number 9 team, also hailing from Hendrick Motorsports, faced the loss of 100 owner points and 10 playoff points. However, Elliott himself was spared from any driver point deductions since he is currently on a break from racing due to an injury. Adding to the severity of the penalties, all 5 crew chiefs from the implicated teams were slapped with hefty $100,000 fines and will face a 4-race suspension each. This unexpected turn of events has not only set the stage for an intense and unpredictable season, but also serves as a stern reminder of NASCAR's commitment to ensuring a level playing field for all teams. The root cause of the hefty penalties imposed on the NASCAR Cup Series teams stemmed from unauthorized modifications made to a critical component known as hood louvers. For those unfamiliar with hood louvers, they are vents strategically placed in the hood of each manufacturer's car, acting as release points for ducts that expel air from the radiator. This innovative feature eliminates the need for teams to tape up the front grille of the car, a performance adjustment technique that was widely employed in previous race car iterations. The drama unfolded last Friday during the initial inspection at Phoenix Raceway, as NASCAR inspectors uncovered issues with the hood louvers on all 4 HMS cars. Despite the discovery, the teams were allowed to use the louvers during practice, after which they were confiscated. The teams then replaced the louvers before Saturday's qualifying session. But the intrigue didn't stop there. Before Cup qualifying last Saturday, NASCAR also confiscated the hood louvers from Cowley's number 31 Chevrolet. The team was permitted to replace them and participate in time trials. All confiscated louvers were transported to NASCAR's Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina, for a thorough evaluation. Front Row Motorsports, Rush, Fenway Racing, and Stewart-Haas Racing all were hit with severe penalties last season for altering single-source supplied parts. In a captivating development, Hendrick Motorsports has decided to fight back and appeal the massive penalties imposed on their teams. In a statement released by HMS, they shared their disappointment with NASCAR's decision and provided a compelling list of reasons for their appeal. The team emphasizes that the situation had no impact on Saturday's qualifying session or Sunday's race. HMS highlighted the following key points in their appeal. The louvers provided to teams through NASCAR's mandated single-source supplier do not match the design submitted by the manufacturer and approved by NASCAR. NASCAR's communication regarding the louvers has been inconsistent and unclear. Previous penalties of a similar nature were issued by NASCAR in relation to issues discovered during post-race inspection. Adding an extra layer of intrigue, HMS has made the strategic decision not to request a deferral of the crew chief's suspensions. With the introduction of the next-gen car in the 2022 season, NASCAR updated its penalty system to include much harsher consequences for violations, including the revoking of playoff eligibility, in particular with respect to modifying parts from single-source supplier. Much of the construction of the new model car revolves around single-source supplied parts, greatly reducing or eliminating the need of individual teams to spend money developing and producing their own. Several teams were penalized last season for modification of single-source supplier parts and Joe Gibbs Racing had a pair of cars disqualified from Pocono for having additional tape on the nose of the cars of Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch. In a riveting turn of events, Elton Sawyer, NASCAR's senior vice president of competition, weighed in on the ongoing issue of unauthorized modifications to the next-gen car. He revealed his feelings by saying, "I don't know if the word is surprised, maybe I'll use disappointed. NASCAR has been diligently emphasizing the importance of following the rules since the beginning of the next-gen car project." Sawyer underscored NASCAR's responsibility to enforce the rules and guarantee a level playing field for everyone in the sport. He affirmed, "It's for the betterment of our sport, for the business model, and that's our responsibility to continue to do that." While NASCAR occasionally allows teams to modify single-source parts for a proper fit on the car, Sawyer clarified that this was not the case in this instance, as the modifications were made to unapproved areas. He added, "This is a consistent penalty with what we went through last year with other competitors." Emphasizing the need for maintaining a level playing field and upholding competition standards, Sawyer concluded, "We were put in a position that we felt there was no other way but to write a penalty." In the midst of the controversy, Hendrick Motorsports driver William Byron has already secured 2 victories in the first 4 races of the season, and he and teammate Kyle Larson have led a combined total of 510 laps. As the teams gear up for the upcoming race at Atlanta Motor Speedway, the excitement and anticipation within the racing community continue to soar. In yet another dramatic development, Joe Gibbs Racing driver Denny Hamlin found himself on the receiving end of a penalty due to intentional contact with Ross Chastain on the final lap of the Phoenix race. The racing world was abuzz with discussions, as NASCAR cited rules pertaining to manipulating the outcome of a race by wrecking another driver and engaging in actions detrimental to stock car racing. The heart-stopping incident occurred in Turn 1 when Hamlin's car drifted up the track, taking Chastain along for the ride and slamming both cars into the wall. At the time of the collision, both drivers were running in the top 10. Unfortunately, the dramatic turn of events saw Hamlin finishing in 23rd place, while Chastain ended up in 24th. Denny Hamlin openly admitted on his podcast, Actions Detrimental, that the contact with Ross Chastain was indeed intentional. As a result, NASCAR slapped Hamlin with a $50,000 fine and docked him 25 driver points for the incident. Prior to the penalty announcement, Hamlin held the 7th position in the points standings. Hamlin candidly shared on his podcast, "When he knows it's coming, he is the hardest guy to wreck on the planet." He went on to describe their conversation after the race, with Chastain admitting that he deserved it and Hamlin agreeing. The 2 drivers talked things out, deciding to put the past behind them and judge each other based on their actions moving forward, in the spirit of fairness. But the drama didn't end there. The number 10 car for Stewart-Haas Racing, driven by Aric Almirola, was also penalized for a safety violation. NASCAR cited rules related to an improperly installed tire and wheel on the car. Almirola lost his wheel during Stage 2 at Phoenix. Consequently, crew members Ryan Mulder and Cian Cotton were each handed a 2-race suspension. These captivating developments have further fueled the racing community's excitement and anticipation as the NASCAR Cup Series continues to unfold. Fans and competitors alike are eagerly waiting to see how these penalties will shape the remainder of the season and the ongoing rivalries on the racetrack. We want to hear from you. What do you think of these NASCAR penalties and their impact on the competition? Share your thoughts in the comments below.